Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm so honored to be here with you all to celebrate the great accomplishments, mashallah, of the Dar-us-Sakina team here in Houston. In a short amount of time, they have created so much impact. And you will see their efforts throughout this evening, inshallah. Many of you do not know me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a mom of 3 amazing girls, mashallah. I'm a community member, a sister, a daughter. I live in Chicago, and I happen to have found my life's purpose and calling. It was a fall day back in 2003. And I still remember that day as my introduction into the world of disability. I received a phone call that my beautiful mother, my 58-year-old mother, fell out of her bed at Fajr time to find out that she was paralyzed on one side, unable to move, unable to pick herself up. My mother, you see, an active, thriving woman, a working woman, active in her community, had all of a sudden been diagnosed with a glioblastoma, a brain tumor, with no warning. Her diagnosis and paralysis took us through the next 5 months, and after that, she was gone. See, at the very same time, my lesson in disability and my introduction to disability, at the very same time my beautiful mother was losing her speech, my beautiful 2.5-year-old daughter was losing her speech, you see, because she received a diagnosis of autism. In those exact weeks, I watched 2 of the closest people in my life struggle with this newfound status of disability, my daughter and my mother. Moving forward many years to the year of 2012, when I was blessed with my husband and fortunate to go to Hajj, alhamdulillah. I met Sheikh Umar Suleiman, who many of you may know. He was our Hajj leader. And as I did with so many other people who were in the community, who were leaders in the community, I started to tell him about my daughter and about the fact that he needed to, with his platform and with his voice, advocate and talk about families like ours, families like you've heard about from Samir and from Nadia. You see, I used to go to the masjid with my daughter when she was very young, and a couple of times she was like that child that Nadia described, where she maybe acted a little differently. One day, I'll never forget, we were at a Hajj recital or something for one of my other daughters, and she started rocking back and forth. She was very little at the time, and she was watching happily, enjoying the program at the masjid. Another mother, an adult mother, started staring at my precious daughter. And you know what she did? She took her own child, who was seated nearby, and she scooted her child away from my child. Do you know how that felt? And another day, I tried to go back, and I went for Jummah. And I took my daughter with me, and she's very hyperactive and liked to move. And when she started to wriggle around a little bit, I did the right thing, as any parent should, and I took her out of the musalla, and I was in the hallway. I was struggling to kind of contain her a little bit. And an auntie came out from the masjid, from the musalla, and I said, oh, she's coming to help me. And she said, Beta, you know it's not fard for you to be here. I never went back to that masjid for 10 years. Have you heard of the term unmosqued? That was me. My other daughters went to the masjid. My husband went daily to the masjid. I, with my daughter, could not go back in that masjid because of this experience. And I told Sheikh Omar Suleiman about it. And I wanted him to know the struggle. And I wanted him to know that there was a need in the community for people to understand families like ours and that we were certainly not alone. I stressed to him that I needed his help. And you know, these people, these individuals with special needs in our lives, they're a sign for us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He can do all things. They are a reminder. And you know what? Our response is our test. Your response is your test in this dunya when you interact and face people and families with special needs. I remember meeting Ustada Yasmin, who is also one of our guests, and I stopped a whole book signing. I stopped the line and I said, I have to talk to you about something. And mashallah, she has since supported our cause and advocated and spoken on our behalf, as you will hear her later this evening. After MUHSEN was established, and this is the part that gets interesting because this is about Dar-us-Sakina and the Houston chapter, I was contacted by Sister Nadia, now the director of Dar-us-Sakina and co-founder. She introduced herself and she mentioned to me that she and her very good friend, our associate director, Sister Asra, wanted to start some efforts in Houston. They had actually been developing this, but they had also seen what MUHSEN was doing. And as we were relatively new, I really, really wanted to see the mission of MUHSEN grow and expand. And we're fully reliant on volunteers across the country. And so when I met them and they visited us in Chicago, I knew from the moment I met them that they had a plan for Houston. And mashallah, they came back and they built this very beautiful chapter here known as Dar-us-Sakina. Nadia and Asra wanted to do exactly what I had wanted to do, to see this reality not only for their own children, but also for so many marginalized, underserved individuals and families in the Houston area. In conjunction with Dar-us-Sakina operations, they have also led the country in creating an innovative, adapted curriculum that Nadia has developed with our school team that teaches deen basics to children with different abilities. And can I tell you, this never existed before. We have been approached by numerous entities, not only across the country, but from Australia, from Saudi Arabia, and from the UAE, inquiring about how to acquire this special needs curriculum. MashaAllah. I think that deserves a round of applause. This hands-on curriculum and the training that accompanies it has never existed. And so many children were being left out without access. And it is being used at every single MUHSEN weekend school around 10 cities across the country, mashallah, and serving over 100 students. Dar-us-Sakina has been the catalyst to start MUHSEN disability awareness programs here in the area, educating communities about their fellow brothers and sisters. Dar-us-Sakina has held regular support groups for caregivers, a much, much needed reprieve. They've provided assistance in the Masjid certification program. They've created and implemented an intern opportunities across their program. And also, Dar-us-Sakina volunteers have been instrumental in providing supports at the ISNA convention and at the MUHSEN Umrah. We take a group of people with disabilities to Umrah. We've done it 2 years in a row, alhamdulillah. Every step of the way, the Dar-us-Sakina team wanted to be self-sufficient. Although under the MUHSEN umbrella,